3 days had passed since the crash, and nothing was going right at Pine Ridge Medical Center. The woman still wouldn't wake up, and her condition was getting worse by the hour. Dr. Lisa Park had tried everything she could think of, but it was like her body was fighting against every treatment. The hospital staff were acting strange too. Nurse Betty, who had worked there for 15 years and never backed down from any patient, suddenly found reasons to avoid room 204. She would send other nurses to check on the woman instead, claiming she was too busy with other patients. "Just don't feel right around them," Betty whispered to Dr. Park in the hallway. "There's something off about the whole situation. Maybe we should call the state hospital and transfer them." Dr. Park had heard similar comments from almost everyone. On her team, the lab technicians complained that their equipment kept malfunctioning whenever they ran tests on the woman's blood. The X-ray machine had started making weird humming sounds that the repair guy couldn't explain. Even the cleaning staff had started skipping room 204, saying it gave them the creeps, but it wasn't just the staff who were acting differently. The boy, Zach, seemed to know exactly who he could trust and who he couldn't. When Betty or the other nervous staff members came near, he would move protectively in front of his mother's bed. His eyes would get that bright, intense look, and he would watch them like he was reading their minds. With Dr. Park, though, he was completely different. He would relax when she entered the room, and sometimes he would even try to communicate with her. His English was getting better each day, like he was learning fast just by listening to people talk. "Dr. Lisa," he said one afternoon, tugging on her coat sleeve, "my mother, she needs different help." "What kind of help, Zach?" Dr. Park asked, kneeling down so she was at his eye level. Zach looked around to make sure they were alone, then leaned closer. "Not ... human medicine," he whispered. "Our medicine." From home, Dr. Park felt a chill run down her spine. She had suspected there was something unusual about these patients, but hearing it confirmed was different. "Where's your home, Zach?" The boy looked at her with those strange, bright eyes and pointed up toward the ceiling. Then he shook his head sadly. "Cannot go back. Dangerous there now." That evening, Dr. Park found herself staying late again, sitting beside the woman's bed while Zach slept in the chair next to her. The machines continued their strange beeping patterns, and the woman's breathing was getting more shallow. Zach woke up suddenly, like he had sensed something was wrong. He looked at the monitors and started getting upset, speaking rapidly in his own language. Then he turned to Dr. Park with tears in his bright eyes. "She dying," he said simply. "Human medicine not working. Need our medicine, but it far away. Where, Zach? Where's your medicine?" The boy wiped his eyes and took a deep breath. "In the ship, in Ben's field, hidden inside. But people watching now. Men in black clothes came yesterday. Put fence around ship." Dr. Park knew he was talking about the federal agents who had arrived. That morning, Sheriff Davis had warned her they were coming, saying the crash site was now classified. No one was allowed near it except official personnel. "What kind of medicine is it?" she asked. Zach struggled to find the right words. "Crystal. Box. Blue light inside. It ... fixes the body when air is wrong." He pointed to his mother. "Earth's air making her sick. Crystal box can help, but need other things too." Over the next hour, Zach tried his best to explain what his mother needed. It was hard because he didn't know all the English words, and some of the concepts didn't seem to exist in human medicine. But Dr. Park was starting to understand. The woman wasn't just injured from the crash. She was having some kind of allergic reaction to Earth's atmosphere, and it was slowly poisoning her system. "Zach, even if I could get to your ship, how would I know what to bring back?" The boy reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device, about the size of a smartphone, but made of the same strange metallic material as their clothes. When he touched it, symbols appeared on its surface, glowing softly. "I show you," he said, "but you must promise you help my mother." Dr. Park looked at the dying woman, then back at the desperate boy. She thought about her oath as a doctor, about her duty to help patients no matter what. But she also thought about her career, her medical license, and what would happen if anyone found out she was planning to break into a classified crash site. The other doctors and nurses, she said carefully. They're scared of you and your mother. Why aren't I scared? Zack tilted his head, studying her face. You have sad in your heart. Old sad, you understand helping when others cannot help. Boy was right. Dr. Park had lost her own child years ago in an accident. The pain of watching a parent lose a child was something she understood too well, and maybe that's why she could see past the strange circumstances to what really mattered. A boy who needed his mother to live. If I help you get the medicine, she said slowly, what exactly do I need to do? Zack's face lit up with hope for the first time in days. He showed her the device again, touching different symbols. Images appeared showing a crystalline container, about the size of a jewelry box, along with several other items that looked like they belonged in a science fiction movie. Crystal box most important, he explained, but need power source too, and connection cables. All in ship's medical room. How will I know where to find them? Zack touched another symbol, and a map appeared on the device, showing the layout of their ship. I draw pictures for you, he said, show you exactly where. As they talked, Dr. Park realized she was already making the decision to help. Every instinct she had as a doctor was telling her this was the right thing to do. But every instinct she had as a person living in the real world was screaming that this was crazy. The federal agents, she said, they'll be guarding the ship. Time, Zack said. They sleep sometimes, and ship has. How you say, hiding places? Secret doors they not find yet. Dr. Park looked at the monitors again. The woman's vital signs were getting weaker. If they didn't do something soon, it would be too late. She thought about all the staff members who had found excuses to avoid this room, about how easy it would be to just let someone else handle this problem. But when she looked at Zack's hopeful face, she knew she couldn't walk away. Okay, she said quietly, I'll help you. But we have to be very careful. If we get caught, I won't be able to help your mother at all. Zack nodded seriously. I understand. You're a good person, Dr. Lisa. My mother will live because of you. As Dr. Park left the hospital that night, she couldn't believe what she had agreed to do. Tomorrow night, she would sneak out to a classified crash site and try to steal alien medical equipment. It was the craziest plan she had ever been part of. But looking back at the hospital, knowing that a desperate boy was sitting beside his dying mother, she knew she had made the right choice. Sometimes being a doctor meant more than just following the rules. Sometimes it meant being willing to risk everything to save a life. The rain was coming down hard that night in Pine Ridge. Old Ben Wilson was checking on his corn. One last time before heading inside when he saw the sky light up like the 4th of July. But this wasn't fireworks. Something big and bright was. Falling fast, heading straight for his back field. Ben had lived on this farm for 40 years. He'd seen plenty of storms, even a few tornadoes. But nothing like this. The thing crashed with a sound like thunder, shaking the ground under his boots. His dog Rex started barking like crazy, but wouldn't go near the back field no matter how much Ben called. Oh, I guess I better take a look, Ben said to himself, grabbing his flashlight and rain jacket. His wife Mary was already asleep, and he didn't want to wake her over what was probably just a small plane that got caught in the storm. The walk to the backfield felt longer than usual. Ben's flashlight cut through the rain, but he could barely see 10 feet ahead. When he finally reached the spot where he'd seen the crash, his jaw dropped. There was a deep hole in his corn, with bent and broken stalks everywhere. But what really got his attention was the thing sitting in the middle of it all. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a car. It wasn't like anything Ben had ever seen before. The object was smooth and dark, about the size of a small truck, but shaped all wrong. It looked like someone had taken a teardrop and stretched it out. Parts of it were glowing with a soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Ben was still trying to make sense of what he was looking at, when he heard something that made his blood run cold. It was crying. Not animal crying, but human crying. The sound of someone in terrible pain. He followed the sound around to the other side of the strange object. That's when he saw them. A woman was lying on the ground, not moving. She was wearing clothes that looked like they were made of silver fabric, and her skin had a strange pale color that didn't look quite right in the flashlight beam. Next to her was a young boy, maybe 12 years old, shaking her shoulders and crying, "Ma'am, are you okay?" Ben called out, but the woman didn't respond. The boy looked up at him with the biggest, most frightened eyes Ben had ever seen. There was something unusual about those eyes, too, like they caught and held. The light, in a way that wasn't normal. The boy said something Ben couldn't understand. The words sounded almost like English, but twisted and strange. Then the boy tried again, speaking slower this time. "My mother ... won't wake up," the boy said, his voice shaking. "Please, help my mother." Ben felt his heart break a little. Whatever. These people were, wherever they came from, this was just a scared kid whose mom was hurt. He knelt down next to the woman and checked for a pulse. It was there, but weak and strange, like her heart was beating to a different rhythm than it should. "Okay, son, we're going to get help," Ben said, pulling out his phone. "Just stay calm." The boy seemed to understand that Ben was trying to help, because he stopped crying and watched carefully as Ben made the call. When the dispatcher asked what kind of emergency it was, Ben found himself struggling to explain. "Well, there was a crash in my field. Got a woman here who's hurt bad, and a boy. They need an ambulance right away." "What kind of crash, sir? Car accident?" Ben looked at the strange object behind them, still glowing softly in the rain. "I'm not really sure what kind of crash it was." While they waited for help to arrive, Ben noticed more strange things. The woman's clothes weren't just silver-colored. They seemed to be made of actual metal that bent like fabric. The boy's hair looked normal from far away, but up close it had an odd shine to it, like spun copper. And neither of them seemed to be getting wet. Even though the rain was still coming down, the boy kept talking to his mother in that strange, almost Tinglish, begging her to wake up. Sometimes he would look at Ben with those bright eyes and try to say something, but Ben could only catch a few words. "She, medicine, ... not here." The boy managed to say need, ... help. "Please." About 20 minutes later, Ben heard sirens. In the distance, the boy heard them too and got scared, moving closer to his mother like he was trying to protect her. Ben put his hand on the boy's shoulder. "It's okay, son. They're here to help." Sheriff Tom Davis was the first to arrive, followed by the fire truck and ambulance. When Tom saw the scene, he stopped in his tracks, just like Ben had. The paramedics, though, went straight to work on the woman without asking to. Many questions about the strange crash site. Dr. Lisa Park was the doctor on call that night at Pine Ridge Medical Center. She'd only been working in the small town for 6 months, having moved there from Chicago after her divorce. She was tired of big city medicine and wanted something quieter, but she definitely wasn't expecting anything like this. When the ambulance brought in the woman and boy, Dr. Park could tell right away that something was different. The woman's vital signs were all wrong, but not in a way that made sense with any conditions she'd studied. Her temperature was too low. Her blood pressure was reading in patterns she'd never seen. And when they tried to take blood for tests, it came out a slightly different color than normal blood. The boy wouldn't leave his mother's side. Every time someone tried to separate them, he would start crying and saying, "My mother won't wake up," over and over. Dr. Park noticed that the boy seemed to calm down when she was around, but got more upset when other staff members came near. "Can you tell me your name?" Dr. Park asked the boy gently. "Zach," the boy said after thinking for a moment. "My name, ... Zach." "Okay, Zach. I'm Dr. Park. I'm going to take good care of your mother." Something about the way she said it seemed to reach the boy. He looked at her with those unusual bright eyes and nodded. For the first time since the crash, he seemed to believe that someone might actually be able to help. But as Dr. Park worked through the night, trying every treatment she could think of, the woman's condition didn't improve. If anything, she seemed to be getting worse. The medical equipment kept giving strange readings, and some of the machines would start beeping in patterns they weren't designed to make. By morning, word had spread through the small town about the strange crash and the mysterious patients at the hospital. People were starting to ask questions that Dr. Park couldn't answer. Where had these people come from? Why were they so different? And why wasn't anything working to help the woman wake up? But the biggest question of all was one that Dr. Park was starting to ask herself. What if helping them was going to require her to do something she'd never done before? something that went against everything she'd learned in medical school. As she watched the boy hold his mother's hand and whisper to her in that strange language, Dr. Park made a decision that would change everything. She was going to find a way to help them, no matter what it took. The next morning, Dr. Park could barely focus on her regular patients. Every time someone mentioned the strange family in room 204, her stomach would twist into knots. She had agreed to help Zach, but now that daylight had come, the plan seemed impossible. During her lunch break, she drove past Ben's farm to see what they were dealing with. Her heart sank when she saw the scene. The entire crash site was surrounded by a tall fence with warning signs. Black government vehicles were parked around the perimeter, and she could see at least 4 agents in dark suits patrolling the area. "This is crazy," she whispered to herself. "I'm a doctor, not some kind of secret agent." But then she thought about Zach's desperate eyes and his mother's weakening condition. The woman had maybe another day or two before her body would give up completely. If Dr. Park didn't act soon, she would have to watch a child lose his mother right in front of her. That afternoon, Hospital Administrator Robert Kane called her into his office. Dr. Park's heart was pounding as she sat down across from his desk. "Lisa, we need to talk about the patients in room 204, Kane said, looking uncomfortable. "I've been getting calls from some very important people about this situation." "What kind of calls?" "The kind where people don't give their real names," Kane replied. "They want to transfer the patients to a special facility. They say it's for everyone's safety." Dr. Park felt her mouth go dry. "What did you tell them?" "I told them the woman is too unstable to move right now." "But Lisa, I can't hold them off much longer. These people have authority that goes way above my head. How much time do we have?" Kane looked at his calendar. "Maybe another day, too, at most. After that, I won't have a choice." Dr. Park left the meeting feeling like the walls were closing in. Not only did she have to worry about sneaking past federal agents, but now she had to worry about Zach and his mother being taken away to some secret government facility where she would never see them again. That evening, she couldn't eat dinner. She kept thinking about her own son, David, who had died in a car accident 3 years ago. He'd been 12, just like Zach. She remembered sitting in a hospital room, just like room 204, holding David's hand and begging him to wake up. But no one had been able to help her then. "Maybe this is my chance," she said to herself. "Maybe I can save this child's mother when no one could save my son." At 9 o'clock, she drove back to the hospital. The night shift was smaller, and most of the staff who were uncomfortable around room 204 worked during the day anyway. She found Zach sitting beside his mother's bed, holding her hand and talking to her in a strange language. "How is she?" Dr. Park asked. Zach looked up with tired eyes. "Getting worse. Breathing is harder now." He paused, then added quietly, "You still help?" Dr. Park sat down next to him. "Zach, I need to ask you something important. If we do this, if we get caught, they might take you and your mother away to a place where I can't help you anymore. Do you understand?" The boy nodded seriously. "If we not try, she dies anyway. Better to try, okay then. Tell me exactly what I need to do." For the next hour, Zach drew detailed pictures on the back of hospital forms, showing Dr. Park the layout of their ship and exactly where to find the medical equipment. He explained how to open the hidden panels and what each piece of equipment looked like. "Most important is blue crystal box," he said, drawing a careful picture. "Without it, nothing else works. Goes here." He pointed to a spot on his mother's chest, and here, he pointed to her forehead. "What does it do exactly?" "Changes the air around her. Makes it like home air so her body can heal." At midnight, Dr. Park made her way to the parking lot. She had changed into dark clothes and brought a small backpack for the equipment. Her hands were shaking as she drove toward Ben's farm. She parked about half a mile away and walked through the woods to avoid the main road. The closer she got to the crash site, the more nervous she became. What if the agents had night vision equipment? What if there were motion sensors she couldn't see? When she reached the edge of the tree line, she could see the ship clearly for the first time. It was even stranger than she had imagined. The blue glow Zach had mentioned was still pulsing softly, and the whole thing seemed to hum with some kind of energy. 2 agents were walking around the perimeter, but they seemed bored and tired. Dr. Park watched their pattern for 20 minutes. Every 15 minutes they would meet at the far side of the fence, talk for a few minutes, and walk back in opposite directions. During one of their meetings, Dr. Park made her move. She had brought wire cutters from her garage, and she quickly cut a small hole in the fence. Her heart was beating so loud, she was sure someone would hear it. The ship was bigger up close, and she could see the damage from the crash. One hole section was crumpled, but the rest looked intact. Following Zach's drawings, she found the hidden panel he had described. When she pressed it in the right spot, it opened silently. Inside, the ship was like nothing she had ever seen. Everything glowed with soft light, and the walls seemed to be made of the same strange material as Zach and his mother's clothes. Found the medical room exactly where Zach had said it would be. The blue crystal box was sitting on what looked like an examination table. It was beautiful, like a jewelry box made of sapphire, but it pulsed with its own inner light. Next to it were the other items Zach had described, cables that felt warm to the touch, and a device that looked like a handheld scanner. Dr. Park carefully packed everything into her backpack, trying not to think about what would happen if she was caught with stolen alien technology. Just as she was about to leave, she heard voices outside. "Check that section again," someone said. "I thought I saw a light." Dr. Park's blood turned to ice. She was trapped inside the ship with agents. Right outside, through a small window, she could see flashlight beams moving closer to the entrance she had used. She looked around desperately for another exit. That's when she noticed another panel on the opposite wall. She pressed it like she had the first one, and it opened to reveal an exit on the other side of the ship. Moving as quietly as she could, Dr. Park slipped out the back exit and crawled on her hands and knees toward the tree line. Behind her, she could hear the agents entering the ship through the front entrance. "Looks like someone was here," one of them said. "Some of the medical equipment is missing." Dr. Park didn't stop running until she reached her car. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely get the key in the ignition. She drove back to the hospital. She kept expecting to see police lights in her rearview mirror, but she had done it. She had the equipment Zach needed to save his mother. Now came the even scarier part, figuring out how to use alien medical technology without killing the patient. Back at the hospital, Zach was waiting for her in room 204. When he saw the backpack, his face lit up with hope. "You did it," he whispered. "You really did it. Now what?" Dr. Park asked, setting the backpack down carefully. Zach opened it and looked at the equipment like he was seeing old friends. "Now we save my mother," he said with more confidence than he had shown in days. Dr. Park looked at the sleeping woman, then at the strange alien devices, then at the boy who was counting on her to make this work. She had just committed a federal crime and risked her entire career. There was no going back now. "Okay, Zach," she said, taking a deep breath. "Show me how to use your medicine." Dr. Park's hands were still shaking as Zach carefully unpacked the alien medical equipment. The blue crystal box seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat, casting strange shadows on the hospital room walls. She had stolen this technology from a government crash site, and now she was about to use it on a patient. Everything about this went against her medical training. "Are you sure this is safe?" she whispered to Zach. The boy looked at his mother's pale face and nodded. "Safer than doing nothing. She has maybe hours left." Zach was right. The woman's breathing had become even more shallow, and her skin had taken on an almost gray color. Whatever was happening to her body, it was happening fast. "Okay, show me what to do," Dr. Park said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. Zach picked up the crystal box and turned it over in his hands. When he pressed a small symbol on the bottom, the box opened like a flower blooming. Inside was something that looked like liquid light, swirling and moving with its own energy. "This goes on her chest," Zach explained, taking out what looked like a clear patch. "And this one goes on her forehead. They connect to the box with these cables." The cables were unlike anything Dr. Park had ever seen. They were warm to the touch and seemed to be alive, pulsing with the same rhythm as the crystal box. As Zach attached them to the patches, the whole system began to glow brighter. "What exactly will this do to her?" Dr. Park asked. "It makes a bubble of home air around her," Zach said, concentrating as he worked. Earth air has wrong. How you say mix of things. Making her body fight itself. This fixes the air so she can breathe properly. Soon as Zach placed the first patch on his mother's chest, the hospital room's monitoring equipment went crazy. Alarms started beeping, and the screens showed readings that made no sense. Dr. Park quickly turned off the sound on the machines so they wouldn't attract attention. Is this normal? She asked, watching the wild patterns on the heart monitor. Yes, Zach said, now placing the second patch on his mother's forehead. Her body is starting to remember how to work properly. The moment both patches were in place, something amazing happened. A faint shimmer appeared in the air around the woman, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. The blue crystal box began, pulsing faster, and the liquid light inside swirled more quickly. Dr. Park watched in amazement as the woman's color began to change. The gray pallor was fading, replaced by a more natural skin tone. Her breathing, which had been so shallow for days, began to deepen. It's working, Dr. Park whispered. I can't believe it, but it's actually working. But their relief was short-lived. Just as the woman seemed to be improving, they heard footsteps in the hallway outside. Dr. Park peeked through the door's window and saw two men in dark suits walking toward room 204. Federal agents, she hissed. They're here for you and your mother. Zach's eyes went wide with fear. They cannot take her now. If they disconnect the healing box, she will die. Dr. Park's mind raced. She had to think of something fast. Can you hide the equipment somehow? Shook his head. Box must stay connected, but... Pulled out the small device he had shown her before. This can make things hard to see. Not invisible, but people's eyes will want to look away. Do it, Dr. Park said, quickly. Zach touched several symbols on his device, and suddenly the air around his mother's bed seemed to shimmer differently. The blue crystal box and cables were still there, but Dr. Park found it hard to focus on them directly. Her eyes kept wanting to look elsewhere. The agents knocked on the door. Dr. Park took a deep breath and opened it. Out. Trying to look as normal as possible. Dr. Park, I'm Agent Johnson, and this is Agent Williams. We need to speak with you about your patients. Of course, Dr. Park said, stepping into the hallway and closing the door behind her. How can I help you? We understand you've been treating two individuals from the crash site. We need to transfer them to a more secure facility. I'm afraid that's not possible right now, Dr. Park said, trying to keep her voice steady. The woman is in critical condition. Moving her could be fatal. Agent, Johnson frowned. Our medical team can handle her care. We have specialized equipment. What kind of specialized equipment? Dr. Park asked. The agents exchanged glances. That's classified information, Doctor. We just need you to prepare them for transport. Dr. Park could feel her heart pounding. I'm sorry, but as her doctor, I cannot allow you to move a patient who is this unstable. It would be a violation of my medical oath. Doctor, this is a matter of national security, Agent Williams said, his voice getting firmer. We have the authority to override your medical judgment. Just then, they heard a sound from inside room 204. It was the woman's voice, weak but clearly speaking. Zach's excited voice joined hers, talking rapidly in their strange language. The agents looked at each other in surprise. I thought you said she was unconscious, Agent Johnson said. She was, Dr. Park replied, her heart racing. But patients can sometimes have brief moments of consciousness, even in critical conditions. Agent Williams reached for the door handle. We need to see her now. Dr. Park had no choice but to let them in. As they entered the room, she held her breath, hoping Zach's camouflage device would work. The woman was awake, her bright eyes open and alert. She was sitting up slightly, talking softly to Zach in their own language. The agents could see the patients clearly, but their eyes seemed to slide right past the alien medical equipment. Ma'am, we're here to help you, Agent Johnson said. We need to take you to a better facility. The woman looked at Dr. Park with grateful eyes, then spoke in accented but clear English. This doctor, ... She saved my life. I will not leave her. Ma'am, you don't understand. We have medical facilities that are better equipped to handle your ... condition. My condition is being healed, the woman said firmly. by this doctor's kindness. Zack moved closer to his mother, and Dr. Park noticed that his camouflage device was working perfectly. The agents were looking right at the area where the crystal box should be, but their eyes kept moving away from it. Agent Williams checked his watch. "We'll give you 1 hour to prepare them for transport. After that, we're taking them with or without your cooperation." After the agents left, Dr. Park slumped against the wall. "They're coming back in an hour. What do we do now?" The woman, who was looking stronger by the minute, reached out and took Dr. Park's hand. "My name is Luna," she said softly. "I owe you my life. But more than that, you showed kindness to my son when no one else would." "Luna, those agents have the power to take you away from here. I don't know how to stop them." Luna squeezed her hand. "There may be a way. But first, you must know the truth about why we are here." Over the next 30 minutes, Luna explained their story. They were refugees from a world that was dying, not from war or disaster, but from the slow poisoning of their atmosphere. Thousands of their people had fled to different planets looking for new homes. Earth was supposed to be safe for us. Luna said, "But something in your air makes us sick. We were trying to reach a colony of our people in the northern mountains when our ship failed." "There are others like you on Earth?" Dr. Park asked. "Yes, and they have been working with some of your government people to create safe places for refugees like us, but not all of your government agrees with this." "What do you mean?" Luna looked worried. "Some want to study us. Others want to send us away. The agents who came here, they are not the good ones." Dr. Park felt a chill run down her spine. "What will they do to you?" "Tests. Many tests. They will keep us apart, study our bodies, our technology. Zack and I may never see each other again." Looking at the boy and his mother, Dr. Park made another decision that would change everything. "Then we need to get you to the good ones, the ones who are helping your people." Luna smiled for the first time since waking up. "You would do that? Even after all the risks you have already taken?" Dr. Park thought about her own son, about the promises she had made as a doctor, about what it meant to really help someone in need. "Yes," she said simply. "I would do that." As the hour deadline approached, Dr. Park was about to discover that helping Luna and Zack would lead her into a world she never knew existed. With only minutes left before the agents returned, Dr. Park was making frantic phone calls from the nurses' station. Luna had given her a special number to call, saying it would reach the good people who were helping alien refugees. "Hello?" answered a woman's voice. "This is Dr. Lisa Park at Pine Ridge Medical Center. I have 2 patients who need immediate help. The refugees and hostile agents are coming to take them." There was a pause. "Dr. Park, my name is Commander Rachel Torres. Are you calling about the mother and child from the crash?" "Yes. Luna said you could help them. We've been trying to locate them for days. Are they safe? For now, but not for long. Federal agents are coming back in 15 minutes to take them to some kind of research facility. Dr. Park, I need you to listen carefully. Those agents don't have legal authority to take Luna and Zack. We do. But I need you to stall them until we can get there." "How am I supposed to stall federal agents?" "Tell them the patients have been transferred to your authority by emergency. Medical Protocol 7. That should confuse them long enough for us to arrive." Dr. Park had never heard of Emergency Medical Protocol 7, but she didn't have time to ask questions. "How long do you need?" 20 minutes? Can you give us 20 minutes? I'll try." When the agents returned, Dr. Park was waiting for them, with a clipboard full of official-looking papers she had quickly printed from the internet. "Gentlemen, I'm afraid there's been a development," she said, trying to sound professional. "The patients have been placed under Emergency Medical Protocol 7. Any transfer must be approved by the Medical Emergency Authority." Agent Johnson looked suspicious. "I've never heard of Protocol 7. It's rarely used," Dr. Park said, hoping she sounded convincing. "It's 4 cases involving unknown medical conditions that could pose a public health risk." "These patients don't pose a health risk," Agent Williams said. "Are you qualified to make that determination?" Dr. Park asked. "Because according to their blood work, they have several unusual markers that our infectious disease team needs to investigate." The agents looked at each other uncertainly. Dr. Park could see they didn't want to be responsible for a potential outbreak. "How long will this investigation take?" Agent Johnson asked. At least another hour, Dr. Park said, checking her watch. 18 more minutes. Just then, Zach appeared in the hallway. Dr. Lisa, my mother wants to see you. When they entered room 204, they found Luna sitting up in bed, looking remarkably better. The alien medical equipment was still working, hidden by Zach's camouflage device. Gentlemen, Luna said to the agents, I understand you want to help me, but I am feeling much better now. Perhaps we could discuss this tomorrow. And we really need to get you to our medical facility, Agent Williams said. Your medical facility, Luna said thoughtfully. Would my son be allowed to stay with me? There. The agents exchanged glances. Would depend on the circumstances. Luna's expression grew cold. I see. And would I be free to leave when I am fully recovered? Ma'am, that's not really for us to decide. Then I decline your help, Luna said. Firmly, this doctor has already healed me. I choose to stay here. Dr. Park's phone buzzed with a text message. We're here. Conference room B, excuse me, Dr. Park said to the agents. I need to check on something. The Protocol 7 team may have arrived. She left the room and hurried to conference room B inside. She found 3 people in military uniforms waiting. For her, the woman who had answered the phone stepped forward. Dr. Park, I'm Commander Torres. Thank you for protecting Luna and Zach. Who are you exactly? Dr. Park asked. We're part of a joint task force between several Earth governments and the Galactic Refugee Council. We help displaced people from Mung. Other worlds find safe places to live. There's a Galactic Refugee Council? Commander Torres smiled. Dr. Park, there's a lot about the universe that most humans don't know yet. What you've done for Luna and Zach has not gone unnoticed. I just did what any doctor would do. No, said one of the other officers, a man with kind eyes. Most people, including most doctors, would have been too afraid to help, he risked. Everything for strangers. Commander Torres opened a briefcase and pulled out some official-looking documents. Those agents upstairs don't have any real authority over Luna and Zach. We do. But more importantly, Luna and Zach have the right to choose where they want to live and who they want to trust with their medical care. What are my options here? Dr. Park asked. Well, that depends on what you want. Luna and Zach could be relocated to one of our refugee communities where they'd be safe but hidden, or what? Or you could join our medical team. We have facilities around the world where doctors like you help refugees from dozens of different worlds. Some are escaping wars, others are fleeing dying planets, and some are just looking for better lives for their families. No. Dr. Park felt her world tilting. No. You're offering me a job treating alien patients? It's the best job you'll ever have, Commander, Torres said. But I have to warn you, once you're in, you can't go back to regular medicine. You'll know too much about what's really happening in the universe. Oh. Before Dr. Park could answer, her phone rang. It was the hospital's front desk. Dr. Park, there are more federal agents here asking for you. They say it's urgent. Commander Torres frowned. That would be Agent Johnson's backup team. They don't like being told no. What do? We get Luna and Zach out of here and we give you a choice to make. Back in room 204, they found the original agents looking frustrated and confused. Luna and Zach were ready to go, with the alien medical equipment packed away in Zach's special device. Gentlemen, Commander Torres said, walking into the room with official authority. I'm Commander Torres, Medical Emergency Authority. I'm here to take custody of these patients. Agent Johnson looked relieved. Finally, someone with proper authority. We've been trying to transfer them for hours. Yes. I can see that. Dr. Park's Protocol 7 alert was the right call. These patients need specialized care that only our facility can provide. As they prepared to leave, Luna took Dr. Park's hand. You saved my life, but more than that, you showed my son that humans can be kind and brave. That is a gift I can never repay. Zach hugged Dr. Park tightly. Will I see you again, Dr. Lisa? Where Dr. Park looked at Commander Torres, who nodded encouragingly. Maybe sooner than you think, Zach. 6 months later, Dr. Park was working at a medical facility hidden in the mountains of Colorado, where patients came from 12 different worlds, each with their own unique medical needs. Some breathed different gases, Others had body temperatures that would kill humans. And a few existed partially in dimensions she was still learning to understand. Zach had become her assistant, learning human medicine while teaching her about treatments from his world. His mother Luna worked alongside them, sharing healing techniques that combined the best of both worlds. Dr. Lisa Zach said one day as they treated a patient with crystalline skin, "Do you ever miss your old life?" Dr. Park looked around the medical bay, filled with beings from across the galaxy who trusted her with their lives. She thought about her small-town practice where she had treated the same cold and flu symptoms every day. "No, Zach," she said, smiling, "I don't miss it at all. This is where I belong." Through the medical bay's windows she could see Earth's sky, knowing now that it was full of travelers seeking help, hope, and a chance at a better life. And she was part of the network of people who made sure they found it. Luna joined them, carrying test results for their crystalline patient. "The treatment is working perfectly," she announced. "She should be fully healed in another day." "Another life saved," Dr. Park said. "Another family kept together," Luna corrected. "That is what matters most." As Dr. Park watched Zach carefully document the treatment in both human and alien languages, she realized that sometimes the most important choices in life came from the simplest acts of kindness. She had helped a desperate boy save his mother, and in doing so, she had found a purpose greater than anything she had ever imagined. The universe, it turned out, was full of people who just needed someone to care enough to help. And Dr. Lisa Park had become exactly the person she was meant to be.